Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. To start things off, over the past 2 years, many bodies have published data on massive wealth concentration in an otherwise decentralized Bitcoin network. Some of these reports have identified that less than 5% of all Bitcoin addresses hold about 95% of all Bitcoin. Research published in 2017 by How Much showed that 1% of those addresses had control over half of the Bitcoin market. Joining the ranks of those studies is True Story, a platform for users to research and validate people's claims online. The startup's founder and CEO, Preti Kaiseredi, on Tuesday shared new statistics about Bitcoin's so-called wealth disparity problems. She noted that now 2% of addresses control 80% of the cryptocurrency supply. Here's the little tweet chart right here. Penned by Surabha Deshpande, an analyst at True Story, the report derived its conclusion by using the Lorenz curve, a graph that determined wealth inequality. Deshpande admitted that he let go of specific vital parameters that could give better clarity over Bitcoin's wealth distribution. For instance, he observed that cryptocurrency exchanges held a massive number of Bitcoin in their cold storage wallets. But for those of you who don't even know out there, we can actually identify at this point, because of whale watchers and all that other stuff and the transparency that cryptocurrency exchanges are now required to supply or have already done so on their own accord. We know exactly which accounts, if we see an account has 380,000 Bitcoin, usually, especially before, I don't know if you guys were paying attention. You should have paid attention. This was a couple of months ago. Whenever people were moving Bitcoin from address to address, the price of Bitcoin would probably fluctuate because people were worrying, where was this money going? Why was so much money being moved at one given time? And Changpeng Cao, the head of Binance, actually had a tweet, and he said, we're transferring this much Bitcoin to this other wallet just so everyone knows that it's us and we're not planning to sell it off. So we have a general idea of some of the larger accounts, but Deshpande removed those Bitcoins from their addresses and mentally reallocated them in addresses holding up to 1 Bitcoin. The assumption here is that people with more than 1 Bitcoin would like to store it in their hardware wallets. Deshpande took more liberties with data, like introducing an error into the data that considers half of the identified exchange addresses as a newly assumed exchange address. He also neglected data from addresses that contained 10 to 100 Bitcoin, stating it was not available. His adjustment ultimately gave a presumed Lorenz curve output as shown below. Here is the chart right there. This ties, it's very funny how life works out for you and how things kind of line up. For those of you who were here last week or maybe even the week before, as I was having my longer than usual videos because I wanted to get the point across exactly what was going to be happening within the cryptocurrency space over the next couple of years, or just simply to point out the fact that the people who are gathering or buying the most Bitcoin are not the people who it was made for. The fact that we've had such an enormous amount of news, and I think that I still get a lot of periods where people are asking me, like, I have some friends as well. Do I really think that Bitcoin is going to make it? Do I think that the wider cryptocurrency market is going to make it? What's the reason for this? What's the so-and-so? We get news that all these rich people are holding this much Bitcoin, but could it actually be true? Like, are they actually doing it? And it kind of, I think it's so obvious to me now because I've been doing this for so long. When you look at, I guess when you gather massive amounts of news every single day, like even when the videos are over, I'm still reading. If I'm outside, before I see friends, I listen to podcasts and stuff like that. Like I absorb as much cryptocurrency information as my brain can possibly take. Here's the actual chart right here, I believe from a year or so ago. Yeah, from 2017, where I remember we had this was a huge discussion as well. It was about the fragments of people who actually owned more than 1 Bitcoin and people who owned, I think the general number was that most of the addresses owned anywhere from 10 to several thousand to several tens of thousands of Bitcoin. And here's the actual amount of address that actually, it's 0.008% of addresses own 14.49% of Bitcoin. I guess disparity could be the actual word that's going to be used. Since the push up of 2017, one of the things that I found the most interesting, and I always assume sorry if I'm going off tangent. I have to get this thought out. I've always assumed that a lot of people who sold Bitcoin were people who typically didn't know about finance and stuff like that before. Like, I understand that there's a learning curve. Everyone has to learn in their own way, but the way to learn it is not to sell off your Bitcoin. I've seen a lot of people in the comment section talking about that they were thinking of selling off their Bitcoin for some altcoin, one that seemed a little undervalued, and I just read it and I'm like, good luck. Do what you will with your own life. As 2018 rolled around and we kept on seeing really interesting news, this happened a couple of months ago. For those of you who are not looking at the screen, it says the New York Stock Exchange owner is buying Bitcoin at cheap prices ahead of the backed launch. And I mean, even more so, this one also right here says Circle, one company, executed $24 billion in over-the-counter trades in 2018. And I mentioned during 2018, I said we keep getting all these record numbers because it was Circle, it was, I think Binance, it was Coinbase. Coinbase was maybe one of the main ones, and I don't even think Gemini was in the running for this, about the amount of sales that were happening from their over-the-counter markets, i.e. these numbers weren't hitting the cryptocurrency exchanges, but they were simply, someone's handing them a briefcase, and they were simply just transferring the Bitcoin from one computer to another. How much Bitcoin was being acquired. And I mentioned even a couple days ago, I said, we're going to start getting news. And this is why I said life is very interesting. We're going to start getting more news, I'm sure of it, about exactly how unequal the wealth distribution is amongst Bitcoin holders and how unequal this is so and so and so. It's terrible. I wish that it was more evenly spread out, but I think it's genius. What happened is that as prices were going down, the people who should have been holding and or buying more Bitcoin ended up selling more of it or selling their entire portion. You know, it's going down to nothing. It's at 6,000. It's definitely not going anywhere. And I kept on telling, I mean, I can't explicitly tell people what to do with their money, but I'm like, just hold on in there. Just hold. Don't, or even just, if you are able to do so in a country that does not make it a taxable event, swap into Tether. Just wait and then buy more Bitcoin as prices go lower. But a lot of people just completely left the market. And this is, I think, the next thing that we're going to see happening, and I can feel it as a sequence of events, is the price rising rapidly and then the same exact people trying to get in for where they were before, and it's going to be completely impossible. We're going to enter a period where I assume within the next year, news outlets are going to start to point to the fact that Bitcoin is very rare, how lucky people in 2018 who were able to acquire Bitcoin, or even people at the beginning of 2019 who were able to acquire it for such low prices. Oh my goodness, how lucky these people were. And it's going to, the people who are going to make out like bandits, for those of you who know exactly or understand what that term means, are the richest people in the entire world who are buying up massive amounts of Bitcoin. I think it's always and we'll see. In a couple of years, we'll know exactly how undistributed this all will be. I have a very strong feeling. Remember, we keep talking about the amount of millionaires who are in the world and these people who still don't have Bitcoin. There are a lot of millionaires who don't even have fragments of Bitcoin. What do you think is going to happen for the average everyday person when they can't acquire any Bitcoin? What happens when the millionaires of the world are like, let's do this. Let's start buying a couple $1 million worth of Bitcoin, and they're buying 10 Bitcoin, 15 Bitcoin here and there. But when you have, let's say, even if we have only 10 million other millionaires in the world who start buying up 10, 15 of them as just a hedge or just a maybe, just in case, that's still around 10 to 15 million Bitcoin that we don't really have out there circulating. Anyway, the point is, the distribution is unequal. It's just kind of how it is. It's going to get worse. Make sure, look deep within inside your heart to see if you would also like to be on that 1% train, because it's going to leave the station incredibly soon. I think it's already left. I think that a lot of things just simply haven't been priced into the cryptocurrency market. I think a lot of the fluctuations and stuff like that we've been seeing have been the movements of Bitcoin trying to properly be priced because of all the other action that's been happening during 2018. But people keep pushing the price down, and therefore this is why I think a lot of people who should be in the market aren't simply here. It's going to be very fascinating couple of years. Anyway, unequal distribution. Rich people own a lot. I hope people out there also going to be part of that rich people who also own a lot. I wouldn't, oh my gosh, can you imagine if the number is 80% right now? Imagine if I think we are. I'm fairly certain, in my opinion, we're going to get to a point where Bitcoin is going to hit 20,000, 25, 30, 40,000, and maybe have a bit of a drop. Maybe a 6% drop, but it's going to be some type of a fearful drop. And a lot of these people who are holding the other fragments of Bitcoin are going to become terrified, and they're going to sell off. Like I said, everyone has their number as to when they plan on selling off some Bitcoin, and it's going to be reabsorbed even more by the richest people on the planet. I would not be surprised within the next 3 years. I'm not talking about 30 or 20 years. If this is the chart from 2 years ago, and this is it now, I'm going to assume that around 1.7% of Bitcoin addresses are going to have over 95% of all the wealth. I can feel it coming, and I know that it's going to happen. Anyway, not to dampen the mood, let's move on. Next up, Binance is in the news. Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao has predicted that Binance will resume serving the United States within 2 months, thanks with help from BAM Trading Services. Changpeng Zhao, CEO of major cryptocurrency exchange Binance, has predicted that Binance will resume crypto to fiat operations in the United States within the next 2 months. Zhao made his prediction in an interview with online news outlet Cheddar, published on the 15th of August. When asked about Binance's return to the United States, Zhao said, and I do quote, "I don't want to promise any fixed dates, but there's a lot of work being done. And there's a lot of things going on in flux, but I would say in a month or two," end quote. Back in June, Binance announced that the exchange would be temporarily restricting service in the United States as it worked to open a new division to operate with Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, approval, as Cointelegraph reported at the time. For those of you who have no idea what's going on, the United States has been kicking out an enormous amount of cryptocurrency exchanges, or anything that deals with crypto, within their country. If they say if you don't follow their rules, my idea has been for a while that the major cryptocurrency exchanges, and there are a lot of them, I think Kraken's also one of them, who've simply picked up their laptops and left the United States. It's because they're trying to pave the way for the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange to be able to have or be the biggest names in the industry. On top of that, apparently because the people from Binance didn't go to, not FinCEN, I can't remember the names of all these companies anymore. They didn't go to someone and tell them, hey, we plan on doing this here. Apparently, a lot of the coins that Binance has listed on their platform are deemed as unregistered securities, and therefore what they were doing by allowing people in the United States to access them was illegal. So they had to, I think they're going to stop services within the United States within the next couple of weeks. And this is why they're trying to get the time frame within a month or two. It's going to be a very different platform, especially if FinCEN and all these other things are going to be involved. But it's still a way for Binance to make their way back within the United States. It's going to be a tough ride for everyone whenever U.S. lawmakers finally give regulations. But that's the Binance news. Here's the actual thing right here. It was a video. It says Binance to launch U.S. division before November. I give them October. If we start getting really high numbers from the people from backed on their Bitcoin futures, and the Bitcoin price does go, I'm not saying we're going to have $100,000 Bitcoin by the time back the launches, but if we see a significant uptick, it's going to push every other company out there to try and start to get their stuff out as quick as possible. I think November is a hyper conservative time frame, especially, I mean, it's also August, September, October, November. That's 3.5, 4 months away. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Ripple's global head of government relations says a final guidance issued by the UK's Financial Conduct Authority is offering long-awaited regulatory clarity for XRP in the country. Remember, about 3 weeks ago, we had information from the United States regulatory people, conduct situation office people, exactly what was deemed a security, what was deemed a commodity, and what was deemed as what they call it, like a free cryptocurrency, or like a cryptocurrency that has no guidance, standing, whatever. Like it's meant to be floating around on its own. I think we went over page 1, page 8, and page 14 because I didn't really feel like reading 33 pages of the regulatory clarity on the thing. But apparently, other coins were actually listed in that document, except for Bitcoin, that are no longer deemed securities within the UK. On the 31st of July, there we go, the FCA published its final guidance defining which crypto assets activates Here we go. Its regulations. It lists XRP alongside Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think Bitcoin was the only one listed as we were talking about it, but apparently Ethereum and XRP were in the main paperwork, which has been declared by the agency as exchange tokens. There we go. Exchange tokens, not as securities. It says the FCA is therefore publishing, wow, my English, the final guidance as consulted on with some amendments to provide greater clarity on what is and isn't regulated. This includes making the important distinction as to which crypto assets fall inside the regulatory perimeter clearer. That's okay. Consumers should be mindful of the absence of certain regulatory protections when considering purchasing unregulated crypto assets. I'm actually doing the air quotes. Unregulated crypto assets such as Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP are not covered by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, and consumers do not have recourse to the Financial Ombudsman Service. What that pretty much means is if you're dealing in Bitcoin, Ether, or XRP and you lose Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, you can't cry to anyone because they're unregulated crypto assets. Same exact way you can't go cry, I lost my Bitcoin. Kind of the same exact way. Ripple's Michelle Bond, why did I say that? Ripple's Michelle Bond first brought the new document to light on Twitter. She said, the FCA now lists XRP in the company of Bitcoin and Ether, both of which were previously classified as exchange and or utility tokens and not as a security token. For those of you who were wondering or saw over the weekend that the price of XRP went up, I think this could be the reason why, because we've been waiting for any country at this point to give regulatory clarity, and I think I was more excited than I should have been that the UK government finally gave regulatory clarity on what was happening with cryptocurrencies. I assume, or I would presume, that we're going to get more of these as time goes on. I think we have a lot of countries who are coming out as very anti-crypto, I'll put it that way, over the last couple of weeks. But I assume because of all the work that Ripple has been doing with regulatory agencies that we're going to get this classification or clarification of XRP not being a security. In many of the countries, I would be shocked. I would be taken aback, dare I say, if XRP was listed as a security within the United States. That'd be a curveball. That'd be 5 curveballs. That'd be 5 curveballs coming at you with no baseball. That would be one of the weirdest things in the entire world. However, yeah, people were asking or trying to assume why XRP had been going up over the weekend. When the entire market was in red, I think XRP was actually posting 10% gains. I think it's around 7% now from where we were before. But this could be potentially the reason why the price was or is still going up. Next up, crypto exchange Poloniex says it's removing 23 digital currency trading pairs due to low trading volume. According to data from CoinMarketCap, Poloniex currently supports 124 different trading pairs. Approximately 16 or 20 pairs have less than $1,000 in daily trading volume. I repeat that. 20 pairs listed on Poloniex have less than $1,000 actually passing through them on a 24-hour period. During this year's market recovery, altcoins have not performed as well as Bitcoin, the world's most dominant cryptocurrency. Roughly half of the trading pairs delisted by Poloniex are in Ether, 6 are in Monero, and the remaining are stablecoin pairs for low cap coins. This includes Status, which only traded $157 during a 24-hour period. Bancor, which traded $75, and the Loom Network, which traded $50 over the past 24 hours. I'm not going to say any names, but I've definitely noticed a couple of these coins in my comments section before with people telling other people that they should buy these coins. And even more so, before I continue on, remember I said in 2018, we were going to get to a period where a lot of exchanges were going to be delisting coins. This is about our 9th delisting coin, almost said movie, news situation that we've had in the last couple of months. A lot of these coins, not naming any names, and not even these 3. Let's even set those 3 aside. A lot of these other coins are garbage. You should not be holding them. You should be ashamed of yourself for even telling other people that they should be holding them. And if you're holding them yourself and you're just trying to get other people to get the price of these coins that you should not be holding to go up, just sell your coins and put it into Bitcoin. Just cut your losses. You know deep in your heart you should not be holding a lot of these coins. You know it. You know it. You know it. Other removed pairs with even lower volume than $50 a day include Foam, F-O-A-M, that coin is called Foam, Kyber Network. Several delisted Ether pairs had relatively high trading volumes during the historic crypto bull market as of 2017 and early 2018. They include once popular cryptocurrencies such as Golem, Decentraland, Quantum, Gas, Steam, and Lisk. That's actually a shame. Golem is actually trying to make a world supercomputer that allows people to be able to give their extra computing power to scientists to be able to find cures. That was actually kind of sad. I was actually behind Golem for quite some time. I don't know if I still have Golem somewhere, but I actually liked Golem. That's actually kind of sad. Apart from Bitcoin and leading stablecoins, Poloniex low trading performing Ether trading pair is Zcash. However, Ether to Zcash volumes also remain quite low, with only a little over 50. That's still kind of terrible. With a little over 52,000 in 24-hour trading volume on the 17th of August. Normally, the major coins get a couple of million, and like over 50 million, maybe 100 million on a 24-hour basis, and the bigger coins get over $1 billion on the 24 hours. So $52,000 isn't really a lot. I don't know if they're actually they're probably not delisting IOTA. I think that would have made better news. Just talking about how IOTA was very popular December 2017. IOTA was trading at around 569 and had a market cap of 15. Wow, IOTA had a market. Woof. However, the cryptocurrency is now trading for less than 25 cents and has a market valuation of below 700 million. Right. Please pay attention to where you have your money. These delistings are going to continue, whether it even be just trading pairs, the less trading pairs that they have, especially if they're trading pairs that if 2017 and 18 were glorious years. Why? Because we saw an enormous amount of trading pairs being added to the cryptocurrency space. In 2015 and 16, the only trading pairs we had was Bitcoin. Your coin had to be paired with Bitcoin, and now we have tons of other coins that were being linked up to other stable coins, to Ether, to Bitcoin, sometimes even XRP, as being an alternative way for people to be able to swap money in these pairs. But if no one's using them, if no one's using the coins, then this is $50. $50, that's insane. You understand how much you could, if someone had decided to put in $10,000, they would have pushed the price up. I mean, they would have had no one to sell to. But they would have been able to push the price up by themselves. It's kind of interesting to see these coins disappearing isn't the word. Swimming away. They're swimming into their own corner. And I think this is only going to be hyper accelerated over the next couple of months. If Bitcoin ends up pushing up its price and the other altcoins don't move in tandem, my word. To kind of finish things off, the Australian Tax Office, or the ATO, has sent out warning letters to investors who have placed, this is the weirdest story you'll ever hear, has sent out warning letters to investors who have placed the majority of their retirement savings in cryptocurrencies as part of an Australian Tax Office effort to warn against high-risk retirement savings or investment strategies. 18,000 holders of self-managed super funds, a type of retirement account privately managed by individuals, were told they face penalties of up to $4,200 for breaching regulations, according to local media reports. While the letter targeted any SMSF holder with over 90% of their retirement savings in a single asset, primarily in property, the ATO also singled out cryptocurrencies as a high-risk investment. Excuse me, or rather forgive me if I am simply heavily unknowledgeable on the on exactly what's going on, as I do not live in Australia. I assume that anyone who has a retirement savings plan, a retirement savings fund, whether that be, it could be anything, as long as you're planning for retirement or not having to work until you're 103 years old, I always thought that was a wonderful, amazing thing. Like I said, unless I am completely not understanding what's going on. I saw this on another website as well, but this one was written a lot more clearly. People are going to be fined $4,200 by the Australian Tax Office for investing in or having more than 90% of their retirement savings in a single asset. Seems a little weird. I know people who have zero in savings. I know people who don't have $1 or €1 or peso or anything to their name. So the fact that you would be penalizing people for trying to retire, I mean, it's if managing or retiring with real estate is your thing, who cares? If you decide to have, at least you have your money somewhere. At least you have money to. They said, we have already seen 2 instances of SMSFs losing significant amounts of their retirement savings through investment in cryptocurrency. An ATO spokesperson told the Australian news site Mickey, okay, to be clear, it's not the asset class itself the agency warns against, but being highly overexposed in any one asset. Cool. Didn't know that was a thing. I've known people who made millions of dollars off of real estate and their primary holdings are in real estate. It would be kind of, imagine being fined for holding real. Anyway, I thought this news story, there's always one news story a day that's just very odd. It's always something that kind of rubs me the wrong way. And I wonder exactly what it is. I wonder if there's something deeper to this, i.e. if people are also penalized for not holding government bonds, or rather this is a way for people to be able to say, oh yeah, you're simply overexposed, and therefore, have you looked at these terrible government bonds? Have you seen the 0.01% that we offer you in returns? I don't know if it's that, but it seems a little bit odd that you would fine people for that. I can understand them. No, you can't fine people for not knowing what they're doing. I would understand if people were trying to be held accountable if they were investing in scams. That I kind of understand. But if people are putting their stuff at least in Bitcoin, Ether, or XRP, or even Litecoin as like a hedge against something, or rather because it's a retirement fund, you know, maybe like 401ks and all these other retirement funds aren't set in stone. Like they also do lose value. During the course of 2008 to 2009, millions of people around the world were losing tons of money because their retirement funds were directly tied to government bonds and government so-and-so and this and so and blah, 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 that were also losing money. So it seems, maybe, is it just me? Is this common in other countries to fine other people for having investment? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot to University, Mohair Maroney, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Woody and Daisy, Triple M and J, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Milweezy, JR, Mechanic, Strange Radio Central, Crypto Artist, Cole D, 3D, Cryptopolis, Nicholas, Run Earth, One Piece, One Love, Setsuna, Damien, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto Beer Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, and Miller hits chest every day, and Kyle skips leg day. Thank you all very, very much for your support. At the moment, the market's looking interesting. Bitcoin is currently up. I feel like refreshing it. See what happens. 10672. Is it there? There we go. Okay, still going. Sometimes like the lines won't load as properly. Anyway, the point is, Bitcoin is currently up. It's at 10,672 US dollars. Even the charts look like it's going up. I think this could be a good week for us. I'm not expecting anything spectacular. I'm not expecting a $15,000, $20,000 Bitcoin. Who knows? Sometime this week. But it's nice to see that some of the other coins are moving back up. We are almost above, a couple of cents away from a $200 Ether. Yeah, XRP is up, but it's not as up as it was before. I assume this is based off of the news that we had just spoken about. There doesn't seem to be anything else significantly that would have affected the price of XRP as much. Anything else really significant? Litecoin is still below $100. Kind of is what it is. Nothing is really, I mean, the market's in green. That's kind of the major takeaway from it. I think we'll have to see by Wednesday or Thursday if the everything green remains, because even the altcoins are also, they're green in US dollars and also green in Satoshis. We'll see how this ends up going. If Bitcoin is trying to push for 12 or 13,000, I think the altcoins will definitely be red in Satoshis, but I think just the upward momentum should also push up the prices of the wider cryptocurrency market. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I think it's going to be an exciting week, and I will definitely be talking to you all soon. See you.